What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about this Star Wars Jedi Survivor launch. Now, I want to say just a few things kind of right off the bat. Number one, I'm currently playing this game. I'm playing it on PS5, and so far, I've played, at the time I'm recording this, which is early in the morning on Friday, 2.5 hours. Now, I myself have not really seen any issues with this. And I just want to make that kind of transparent that I have definitely seen other people have issues. I've seen what the issues are, but me, myself, I have not really run into anything that I would say ruins the game or is even laughable. However, it does seem like a lot of the issues really start to enhance themselves the further you get in Kobo, right? So like the first, let's say, mission, to not spoil it too much, the first place that you're at, there's not too much, mainly because it's more linear, whereas then when Kobo really opens up and you can kind of go anywhere, then the issues start to present themselves. That's generally what I have seen, and I'm at Kobo. I'm starting to explore it. Nothing's happened so far, but we'll see, the further and further that I play. But we do, I think, need to talk about it. Obviously, it's a thing that a lot of people are talking about. Just this issue of releasing games unfinished constantly, right? It's not necessarily just a Respawn issue, right? Obviously, there's many developers that do this, and you could argue very heavily that it's more EA's fault than Respawn, right? Whoever decides to put this game out, or it could be Respawn, I don't know. Whoever decides to put the game out when it is coming out. The thing that's odd is there doesn't really seem like there's a deadline for Survivor. With Fallen Order, it came out, I think a month before Rise of Skywalker. So there's a Star Wars movie, I think Mando, right? So there were interviews done back then where they definitely sounded like, if not, they just outright said it, that they were kind of pressured. Like the pressure was on and there was a timetable to get the game out at a certain time. And so some parts of it, specifically towards the ending they had talked about, was rushed. For this, I really don't understand what the issue is. Even had Jason Schreier over there on Twitter writing articles or tweeting about how, basically gloating that this was done in record time. How, normally a game like this takes about 5 or so years to make. This game took 3.5. And so it was almost a gloating like thing. But you can't release games like this, right? So the main idea with this is that it's not even close to hitting 60 frames per second. Some of the tearing that's going on, there's a lot of issues. Now, it seems like it's primarily on PC. I think a lot of people that are talking about, hey, I have a 4090 and here's all my specs, and the thing drops to the 20s and 30s. It can't even hit a consistent 60. That is most of what I'm seeing, and I think PC is the general issue with this game. Now, again, I'm playing on PS5. I haven't experienced too much, but I have seen people talk about, consoles and having issues there. It just shouldn't happen. It absolutely shouldn't. You shouldn't have a game that comes out, and again, this is happening right now, right? So we're all, hyper focusing on it, but Cyberpunk, obviously, there's been multiple examples. When a game comes out and you're told that patches are going to fix it over the next several weeks, which is what EA has said, that is insane. And I saw actual people commenting this on different videos. Like, imagine buying a new car, because it's a new game. Like, it's not used. It's not like in an alpha state. This is a new game. So imagine going to buy a new car and they say, well, there's actually some issues with this thing. Like, it is new and you're going to pay full price for it, but there's actually some issues. We're going to work out the tweaks and we'll fix it over the next couple of weeks. So just enjoy your car. Like, does that sound like it should actually happen? No, and obviously a car and a game are different, but the idea of buying, a new, fully on launch product and then for it to not be finished is an issue. And obviously this is the newest example, but you had The Last of Us Part 1 on PC being an absolute freaking disaster for weeks. And the patches that they've had to do, 3-4 patches at this point that are gigantic, like 25 gig size patches. Again, like, I want to make it clear, I'm not experiencing issues. Like, I'm kind of just doing this as a news thing. If I do experience issues, I'll let you guys know, but it's just sad. We shouldn't have to do this. This is the price, I suppose, of modern gaming. Like, and this is why we talk about, I don't know if gaming is in the best state. People say, oh, it's better than it's ever been before. I don't know. I think in terms of how games are created, live service, season passes, things like that, but also games just coming out not done. I don't really think you can ever say that this last decade, last half decade, this year, I don't really think we're in this golden age. We shouldn't be buying games that are not. Now, with that being said, I bought it, and many people did, but it's getting obviously not, I want to say review bombed. I mean, is it technically getting review? It's getting like rightfully review bomb. People are giving it really bad scores on purpose, but because of the quality of the game. So I don't know if you would call that review bombing. Maybe just they're giving it an honest review. One final thing I want to throw out there is the reviews. Now, like, I want to try to go back to Cyberpunk, but I wasn't really paying attention. Like, actually, with Cyberpunk in general, I didn't pay attention to it too much. I didn't pay attention to, like, all of the YouTuber controversy of saying, like, this is the greatest thing ever, and it's very clear they were just saying it to say it, right? They knew there were issues, and they didn't care. Like, there was a lot of controversy and some scummy behavior going on around that. For Jedi, it's like, well, now do you look at the same thing? These sites, they gave it 9s, 9.5s. Some of them were playing without even like that first patch that did fix some things, right? So what did they experience? And now we don't know, like, what did they experience, and did those actually harm them? And they just kind of said that it didn't, right? Now, I watched a couple of them. I really trust Mr. Matty Plays, who talked about that he did have issues, but at the same time, you just have to trust him or not trust him, I guess, at his word. He had issues, but they weren't something that would really affect the experience. So he acknowledges the issues, but he's not going to hold it against the game. I'm not here to single out an IGN or GameSpot or anything, right? I'm literally just saying, I wonder on each of them, every single person, whether it's a site or a YouTuber or a content creator, everybody that got it, what did they act like? If you just eliminate all the BS, what did they experience? And then were they purposely ignoring that in the review? Or did they say, hey, because I did see some of that, right? Some of them, they gave it like a 9 or an 8. In their verdicts, in their kind of like overalls, they would say there's issues. And the issues assumingly held the game back from being, like, if this game came out in a perfect state, do a lot of those 8 and 9s become 10s, right? And I think that's possible. So in that case, all right, well, they held the performance issues against the game like they probably should, right? And so that's okay. But if they completely ignored it, they had a ton of problems, but they're like, well, we'll just kind of forget that ever happened. That would obviously be an issue as well. But that's harder because, it's honesty, and we don't see these people at their homes playing the game for 30 hours, right? So we can't actually judge. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you've experienced anything, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.